All right, my name is Manny, and this is going to be the first episode of. I'm not quite sure what to call this. But I basically what I want is to gather people who have unique experiences after high school, so that you can start thinking about, is this something I might want to do? And the reason for that is one of the things I got to do when I went to college, which I'll get into, was I took some classes where my teachers would tell us about what they did and how they got to where they are. Because a lot of your college professors, for those of us that go the college route, a lot of those professors, they didn't go to school to be a professor. It's far more rare to find that, at least in my experience. A lot of them, I had one who, was doing research in the Middle East, and he just wanted the funding for the research, so he's a professor. Um, I had some who, bartended, and they just went to school, and then that's where they ended up because they didn't want to work in nightlife anymore. But yeah, so my basic goal is to just give more insights and opportunities that you might not know about otherwise. So I think I'm gonna layer some like whatever you see on like TikTok, like a like a Minecraft parkour or something over this, so you have something to watch. Um, but yeah, I have five basic questions I'm going to be asking a series of people, um, so you can see their experiences. But for the first episode, we're going to start off with mine. So as I said, my name is Manny Rodriguez. The first question I'm going to ask everybody is, did you go to college? Um, and in my experience, I did. I went to college for history. I studied that and I got a minor in psychology. Um, I flip-flopped a lot while I was in um, college, but I will get to that here in a moment. But yeah, so I went to college for history. I studied a lot of different distinctions, and I got to really immerse myself in the histories of the world, not just my local, but I also got to look into my local history, which is what got me into education. I want more people to have that opportunity. Um, yeah, so that was kind of my experience in college, just taking diverse classes. I wanted to learn as much as possible in, the short time that you're there. Because it sounds, 4 more years of school, but really you get there and it goes by quick. So my next question I'm going to ask everybody is, where did you go directly following that? Um, Graduation. Some other people are going to have gone to trade school. Some people are going to have gone into an apprenticeship. Um, for me, immediately after graduation, I was working. I had a pretty good gig. I was working at golf course. Bills. I liked it. I had a lot of good friends there. And immediately following college, I was like, I'll just stay here, for a little bit and kind of just look around. I knew I wanted to go into education though. I like that was my end goal. And eventually, I've worked around who I had for so long. I was like, I'm ready to spread my wings and go somewhere else. So I used my connections. That's the big thing that I'll get into here in a little bit too. Is I used a lot of my connections to get myself into a classroom. And I had a beautiful opportunity. I got to be a substitute teacher across three great school districts. And I met so many people, and it was a great experience, being in the classroom. This is a step away from my like dream that I've had since I was a kid, to be a teacher. So I was incredibly lucky to get into that situation, and I consider myself blessed to have those connections. Um, so I got into substitute teaching, and then I got into goal. I was a counseling assistant, and now I'm a social studies teacher. So I've kind of seen the realized version of that dream, and I'm continuing to educate myself and um, go to school. I'm working on a master's in history, so You know, I still have these aspirations. That's what I always found for myself is something that I'll get into is I like to always have something ahead. All right, the next question is what challenges did you encounter along the way? You know, the obvious one, the first year of college, it was 2020. So we're in COVID lockdown. Um, and you know, that is really taking a mantle. Um, for everybody, not like just me. It's taken a hold on my professors. It's taken a hold on my classmates. It's taken a hold on me, my family, my friends. You know, it was. I mean, everybody can attest to it. It was a strange time. Um, but we kept pushing. I knew that the classes would reopen. I knew that this wasn't forever. So we got through that. That was the first big challenge. The second one was picking my major. I didn't go into college knowing I wanted to be a history major, which, you know, saying that now, I'm like, that's so crazy to hear. But my first declared major, I had a few, was economics. Um, you know, I was like, I want to make money, so let me go into economics, be like a stockbroker or a financial analyst, something along those lines. Um, Did that for, I think, like a semester. Didn't like it, so I pivoted to criminal justice. I was like, I want to be a detective. I like the psychology of it. So I did take a semester or two of criminal justice courses, and they were really cool, but you know, just learning about the career path that you have to go through to get there, it really turned me away. Which is, you know, that's not to say that for some people that's not their path. It just wasn't mine. And that's something you'll find in any place is, you know, you're going to find people who've done their route and it's, you know, it worked for them. It might not work for you. You might need more, you know, quick hits. Like I come in at the entry level. I get promoted within a year or whatever, or I get a raise in a year. You might need that. And that might mean you have to work differently or harder or smarter than they did. And these are things that you learn along the way. Um, but for me, that turned me away. So I went into then psychology with a minor in history. I knew I wanted history on there. But I was like, I could be a therapist. I like to help people. I like to work with people. I took a lot, like a boatload of psychology classes. Um, they were cool. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like I didn't like it. It just, you know, it eventually I was like, I like history. History's always been my jam. So let's just, my belief is that you should do something that you love. I don't, that doesn't mean every day you're going to love going to the job. You know, that doesn't mean that will go away. It means you're at least still doing something you're passionate about. So history was what I was passionate about. Um, and that's what I wanted to go into. So that was where I was going. All right. My next question is what would I have done differently along the way, if anything? Um, if I could go back and tell myself everything that I know now, I wouldn't have taken 2 years off of school. I would have just stayed going, gone straight into my master's, and um, gone along that way. But I didn't do that. I know now that I wish I had done that because I would be so far ahead. Um, which is fine. You know, these are things that you learn going through that. And the other thing is something I'm very grateful that I found out was that I went to CU Denver. I didn't go to CU Boulder. I didn't go to one of the bigger universities because I didn't have to pay for a dorm. That saved me about almost 20,000 a year, um, which is substantial in the grand scheme of things. You know, you don't have to take out those $40,000 loans. You don't have to take out those whatever they may be for the loans alone. That's where a lot of people talk about college is a scam. And while I can see their point of view, for some people, certainly. Some people, you know, there is no point to going to college for if you want to go into a trade, there are just better routes. Um, but if you want to go into a more specialized field, I don't think college is a scam. I just think you got to do it right. And that means you go in kind of with a picture. Maybe that means you wait a year. Maybe that means you wait two. Maybe that means you wait seven. But it is better to wait and kind of figure out, is this what I want to do for sure before going to college? Because a lot of people I found can feel that pressure from their family to go to school. And, that it's just not smart if you don't have like a goal in mind. Um, which is what I would have done. I got out of there in the time span that I planned on, but I had to take summer classes a few times, and I would do it that way, like differently. But yeah, so one piece of advice I would give to people as they're transitioning out of high school. Um, it's my opinion that you're not gonna know what you want to do for the rest of your life when you're graduating high school. It's just the nature of the beast. If you did, that would be awesome. If coming out of school, I want to be a mechanic. That's great. And I will root for you along the way. But it's rare. It's rare that you know exactly how your life's going to go and what you want to do and how the economy's going to look, X, Y, and Z. It's not a realistic circumstance for you to find yourself in. So I would say if I was in high school, as I said earlier, maybe take that year. You know, if you have the money to do it, go travel, go see a different culture. If you don't, I would recommend, looking into Peace Corps. Go do something, immerse yourself in the world while you're young. Um, and maybe you come back with a perspective on what you want to do, how you want to conduct yourself, who you want to be around, um, whatever that may be. And that's my true belief. There's no reason to rush it. You have your whole life ahead of you that you're gonna work. Um, my parents used to tell me that growing up, and I rushed into it. I've worked since I was 14 years old, so like it's true. You have a lifetime ahead of you that you're gonna work and you're gonna be tired. So take the time while you're young and enjoy it and explore and go do something, really really fun and it immerses you. It's my opinion that you should travel, if the ability is there and you can. If you can't, that's the circumstance. Let's say you can't and you go straight into work. I would say to save up for a vacation, even if it's a weekend in a different state. I truly, truly believe that. Um, Even like our different states here in America, the culture is so different. Like if you go from Colorado to New Mexico, if you go from Colorado to Utah, if you go from Colorado to Wyoming, it's a whole different ball game there. And it's so great for you to go experience that. Um, and to be around people who have different points of view than you. Um, but yeah, that's kind of the main point there. Take that time right when you graduate high school and go do something cool. Um, I think far too often we can rush into, when you're a kid, you want to be in middle school and then you want to be in high school and then you want to be in college and then you get out of college and all you want to do is go back. So I think it can be hard to rush through all of these awesome moments that you only get to do really one time. Um, yeah, so I don't have any other questions written down. Um, but I wanted to say this is the first run of this. It's a very, rough version of what I want this to become. And as I have more people on to talk to, I think it's going to become just a better product because of that. Um, so please bear with me while I work out the kinks. Um, but yeah, I hope you enjoyed and let me know if there's anything, that you would prefer, you would change. Any feedback is welcome. Um, but yeah, you know, um, Thanks for listening.